It's time to talk about a very important topic, founder mental health. But frankly, mental health is a global problem, so this applies to pretty much anyone. But I think it's important, especially for founders, solopreneurs, leaders at startups, and anyone really that's trying to build something new. Building stuff that's new is insanely hard. That's why very few people actually try it, even though it seems like as a founder, everyone is also a founder in your network. That is actually not true. There are many people living what seems to be a risk-free and joy-free life at large businesses and cushy positions. You will feel like you are the only one that's hustling, stuck in your position. Everyone is improving their lives, moving into bigger flats, buying new cars, buying fancy jewelry, going on cool trips while you try to change the world and nothing is really happening for you. Very tricky place to be in. But again, remember, it's not just you, it's a global epidemic. So many people are lonely, struggle with mental health. Whether you are in North America, in Europe, or in Asia, I've seen it everywhere. And the reality, unfortunately, is, especially if you're building startups, it's never going to go really away. It is just challenging to do. You'll have to find coping mechanisms. And that's what this video wants to talk about. My own experiences in terms of how I cope with mental health challenges when you feel down and things don't seem to be going as well as you want them to. I'm a guy, so it's particularly challenging for me to talk about this. I feel like many other guys will be especially vulnerable because they're not talking to anyone about this. We're tough guys, right? I've been in the military. We don't like this stuff. It's wishy-washy. It's soft, but hey, that's life. So especially for you gentlemen, it's relevant. But frankly, I think it doesn't, it definitely is not limited to that. Women, as much as men, struggling with mental health. So what are some solutions that I find to be incredibly powerful? The first one in the top left here is always move, never stop. What I mean by that is go and do sports every single day. No excuses. Whether it's going to the gym, that's okay. I like doing it. It at least gets me out of the house. I do 30 minutes cardio. I do 1 hour of strength. I do 15 minutes of stretching. It's a commitment I've put into my calendar fixed. It has been very important because it does get you that dopamine that carries you on. If I don't go to the gym by now, even for just one day, I'll be in a pretty sad position the next day. So it has nothing to do with physique. It's just I need to do it for my brain, right? Probably even better than gym is doing something where you need to focus 100%, where you throw away your phone, where you don't even have time to focus or even the possibility to look at your phone because that can be toxic in some ways. So here are some examples of that type of activity: boxing, surfing, diving. I mean, if you're diving, it's like meditation. You're looking up onto the surface of the water. You know there is no way you can go up there right now. You're squarely focused in terms of what you're doing, and that helps you shut down all of that massive thinking that's going on in your brain and just focus on the physical activity that's in front of you. Part of always moving is also what I call meditation. I don't personally meditate in a traditional sense. I started doing yoga and a lot of stretching. I do stretching every day after the gym, but I try to go to yoga twice a day. It has helped me not just with flexibility and some physical problems that I have from a skeletal and musculoskeletal perspective. It also is just so great mentally to be able to stretch your body and feel better afterwards. So that's always move. You just gotta do it. The second one is adjust your speed. We all come out of uni, we all go through life with the expectation that we're going to change the life in the next 2 to 3 years, or in the next probably 2 to 4 weeks. And we are ingrained to do that by platforms like Amazon with next day delivery. We're also obsessed about short-term outcomes that we forget that building stuff takes time. And if we don't adjust our speed in terms of how we want to get there, if we go hardcore for 6 months, we will tap out. We will gas out, and that is not helpful because you will stop the business at that point, and the business never really had the opportunity to thrive. So somewhat lowering your speed as you move and recognizing and just making sure your brain is aware of that. Hey, this is going to take at least 3, probably more years for me to see the types of results I'm looking for. As a metaphor, the way I'm thinking of this is, imagine that you're a marathon runner. I'm not saying that from the perspective of life is a marathon. You got to walk through life so that you can make it to the end. I'm thinking of it as a professional marathon runner. It's a very notable distance. It's very hard to do, and you have to, because it's competitive, you have to run as fast as you can over the entire period. That means you're almost sprinting until the point where you gas out, and then you need to take out some speed until you recover again. And then you keep going faster again. The goal here is definitely not for me to say, hey, have work-life balance. Just make sure that you can sustain and play with the speed at which you're running, like a professional marathon runner would, in order to finish that, to get to that finish line and cross it. The next one is plan for breaks. I've tried, for instance, to work on weekends the same speed I was working during the week, because at the time I was side hustling during a full-time job. I thought that's a good idea. It turns out it's a pretty shitty idea. If your brain doesn't have anything to look forward to and you're working 12, 14 hours during the week and 12, 14 hours on the weekend, it's going to take you 3 months most, and you're done. You're literally done. You have to give yourself and plan for those breaks. In my case, it means I usually don't touch any work on the weekends. I may do like an hour on Sunday and an hour on Saturday max, especially if I didn't do the stuff that I had to take care of for my private life, like taxes, for instance. But other than that, the weekends are for sleeping, for going to the gym, spending time with my wife, meeting my friends, meeting my family, and that's really the time that I've committed to that. I also like to plan for breaks as much as possible during work days. I work from home, so I try to go out to walks regularly, get some sunlight. That has also been important. And I think it's critical that you give your brain the ability to look forward to something on a relatively short term every now and then. Next one here is friends and community. I think this is important for anyone to be able to talk to friends about challenges that are going on in your life. Community can be great, especially if your native network is not doing and building startups or doing something else that seems easy to you. You need to look for communities, I think, where people like you that go through the same types of challenges are mingling so that you at least can vent a little bit. Next one here is positive thinking. You definitely want to surround yourself with as much positivity as possible. If you have toxic clients, it may even be worth for you to just fire them in some metaphorical sense. You have to let them go. But you also want to be grateful. I never really understood what it means that you should be grateful about things. And when you listen to gurus on YouTube, I was always confused by, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to sit on the balcony in the mornings and just think how grateful I am about my shitty balcony and that I'm drinking a coffee here? But it literally, like, we are all full of positive things in our lives, and focusing your mind on that, reminding yourself of that, it can help you. It's surprising. I never thought it would, but in combination also with, going to the gym, adjusting your speed, doing yoga, this has been a game changer for me. And I can recommend just, spending a couple of minutes as thinking when you're down, like, hey, by the way, this isn't as bad. As a matter of fact, by now I start my day saying, or trying to remember, that the day is going to be shitty in some sense, because then everything that's actually somewhat good is gets me into positive thinking. The life doesn't, and days don't have the responsibility to be good for you, right? And then combining that with positive thinking has helped me too. Celebrate all wins. This is critical for startups. Sometimes you achieve something that seems ridiculously small, but you still have to be very happy about it. Go in front of the mirror and start screaming. Like for instance, when I started selling, switching from services in this current business that I'm building to more product offering, and when I started selling these products without me actually having to deliver services, when Squarespace sent me sales notifications, you get this ching sound. And I literally would start screaming running screaming through my apartment, getting really excited, no matter how small or big that sale was, anywhere from thousands to tens. You have to celebrate it. Otherwise, there's just too much negativity pulling you down. Next one is think big picture. You may be struggling in the local moment, but if you think holistically, think of yourself as a millionaire in the making. And also remind yourself that once you're 80, you will look back at your life and be like, okay, hey, have I done the things I wanted to do? Or have I just tried to live a risk-free life and optimize for minimal risk that could be going on. And you know, risk when you try to build a startup or you're going solo, whatever it is, isn't actually that high. What's the worst thing that could happen to you? That you run out of cash, that you have to find a full-time job again? Is that really risky? I mean, that's where you came from most likely. And I liked reading about Jeff Bezos's, I think, framework, where he says when he makes business decisions, or when he tried to decide whether he should start a startup, he asked himself, hey, what would my 60, 70-year-old me say if I were not to do it, right? If I spent my entire time and life in a corporate career. And then the last one, obviously everyone is a little bit different here, but if it's the evening after a hard day of work, I like to take a beer or a little bit of a wine just to relax and shut off my brain from overthinking, and that's where the cheers comes in. This combination here has helped me quite a lot. There are other things that are more exotic, especially on the cheers side, that you could be thinking about depending on where you are mentally, that I don't want to be recommending here, especially not on a video. But collectively, this stuff here has moved the needle for me, has moved the needle for many other people that I'm involved with. And if there's anything here that you can take in order to improve your mental health, get out of that downward spiral, please do it. It's so important. It's such a massive problem. I'm really passionate about every startup that's in the mental health space and doing something that's actually meaningful, because it is such an important and I think poorly solved and mostly hidden problem that we're not talking about enough. All right, that's it from my side. If this was helpful, would love to get a like, a comment, or a subscribe here to my channel. In the comment section, leave questions and I can clarify stuff. Likes help me understand what kind of content is more important or more relevant, and subscribes are just great because they support content creators. All right, have a great day. Talk soon. Bye-bye.